Hello, my name is Eddie Rivero, and it is my honor to lead you through this webinar centered around the Maxwell DISC method and to discuss how I can add value to you and your team through our ministry leadership development courses. Now, most likely you have already completed a Maxwell DISC personality indicator report and you've received the results. If you have not, email me at dreddierivero@gmail.com for a special promo code. Now today I'm going to give you a snapshot of what DISC is all about. Normally I do this presentation live before business leaders, business employee teams, and even church leadership groups. However, this is an online version of that presentation and it's a little bit different. Now here are the three most important facts you will learn about DISC. Number one, it will help you understand yourself better than any tool out there. I like to say that you can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. Self-leadership is the first step to developing effective leadership skills. A wise person once said, "You must know yourself to grow yourself." Here's the second thing. To effectively lead your team, your staff, and even your family, you need to not only understand yourself, but you need to understand others. People react differently to circumstances based upon their personality trait. And DISC will give you that insight. And finally, once you understand your personality indicators and the personality indicators of others, your communication effectiveness will increase dramatically. Okay, before we go on, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a leadership trainer, executive coach, and international speaker. I am the CEO of the Rivero Group, which is an international coaching and consulting firm based in Miami, Florida. I lead two nonprofits, Global Advanced Ministries, which is an international NGO providing leadership coaching, humanitarian support, and church development, and New Life After School program, which is an educational tutoring firm based in Miami. My wife and I founded this ministry 24 years ago out of a need in our church and community. And presently we serve 185 inner city youth with homework assistance, tutoring, and a summer day camp. I'm also a John Maxwell team executive coach, trainer, and speaker. I have various certifications in communication, leadership, youth empowerment, marriage enrichment, and business, church, and team development. I'm an ordained minister with the Assemblies of God USA and a bishop in the Lord's Church with oversight of 150 churches in the Spanish-speaking Caribbean nations of Cuba and Dominican Republic. I also serve my community as a police chaplain with the Miami-Dade Police Department, the largest department in the Southeast United States and the fourth largest in the nation. And this provides me with a platform to facilitate leadership and ethics training with police and firefighters in the USA and other countries. In my free time, I love to golf, fish, and enjoy the outdoors. You can check out some of my work at www.eddierivero.com. Now today, in a nutshell, you're going to learn about yourself and others. We'll unveil the strengths of each style, and before our time is up, you will learn a great way to improve communications with those you work and live with. As we get started, do you have your Maxwell DISC report with you? Either in paper form or on an electronic device. I want you to have it handy. Okay? Great. Now, let's begin with a little fun. On the screen, you will see a sheet that I call the numbers game. All you need to do is to point at your screen. Normally, when I do this training live, you'll have this in a paper format. But since we're doing this online, I think you can do it on your screen. I'm going to put a timer on my screen here. Let me see. Alrighty, here we go. Now, here's the way we're going to play this. You're going to find number 1. Normally you would circle it on your paper, but I want you to just kind of tap it on your screen. Then find number 2. Then tap it. Find number 3. Tap it. And it has to be in order, okay? All right, so you're going to just look for the numbers in sequential order and tap them on your screen. Are you ready? Here we go. Go. All right. That's it. Found the first one, the second one. Faster. You can do it. Okay. It's not a trick. They're all there. All the numbers are there. Come on. Push yourself a little quicker. No, don't look at. That's it. You can go faster. You can do it. The numbers are there. 10 seconds left. Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, stop. Now, how high did you go? Did you get to 8? 12? Did you reach 15? Okay, now, what you might not have noticed on your screen here, on your paper, if you look at the very top, right to the left of number 66, there's a little tick, there's a little mark to the left of 66. And if you go all the way down between numbers 52 and 19, there's another little mark. Okay? Then if you look to the left, just below number 57 and above 32, there's also a little mark on your paper. And if you draw an imaginary line straight across, there's another little mark between the numbers of 26 and 63. And normally if you were doing this on a sheet of paper, I'd ask you to draw a line, and this creates 4 quadrants. Okay? Now, if you look at number 1, you'll notice that it's in the upper left-hand quadrant. You see it there? Then, number 2 is in the upper right-hand quadrant. Number 3 is in the lower right-hand quadrant. Number 4 is in the lower left-hand quadrant. You see that? So where do you think number 5 is? That's right, upper left-hand quadrant. 6. And now what we're going to do is, same exercise. I'm going to reset the clock. This time, now using what I have told you, now you know the pattern. Now you have a system. I want you to do the same thing. Ready, set, go. Come on. Find number 1 and number 2. All right, you're doing great. Yeah. Can't stop you now. Come on. Come on, you're on fire. You know the pattern. You know the system. That's it. Come on, keep going. Oh, yeah. That's it. Come on. You're in the home stretch. Here we go. 10 seconds. Come on, you can do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. Once you learned the secret, once you discovered the strategy, the second time is a whole lot easier. How many of you got higher than 12? Huh? Maybe you hit 20. Anybody able to get 30? How about 35? All right, the first time you were doing the game, you didn't do very well because you did not know what you were doing. Then, a minute later, after my instructions, after my coaching, You are more confident. You are faster. You are more effective. Just with a little secret, just kind of with a strategy, in a few minutes, not a few months, not 4 years of degree work later. Just catching that strategy helped you to do this quicker, more confidently, more effectively. Why? Because you learned the pattern. The first try, it was high level of stress, but low level of productivity. But after I showed you the strategy, all of a sudden we went from a lower level of stress, right? You weren't stressing out like you were in the first try. Low level of stress and high level of productivity. So the idea behind this exercise is to demonstrate that if you know where and how to look at something, let's say a problem, for example, if you know how to look at it, if you look at it with a strategy in place, you will have a better opportunity to coming up with the solution than if you are just randomly searching for an answer and a way to handle this. Now, we did an exercise with the quadrant, right? Let me show you another quadrant. Okay? Look at these patterns. Once we become aware of the pattern, we know what to expect, right? Look at the upper left hand, the upper right hand, lower right hand, lower left hand. Okay, now watch this. Based on the patterns that we saw before, because we were familiar with them, we were aware of them, we were able to identify each one of the patterns. Same holds true for the people in our lives. Once you learn how to identify someone's behavioral pattern, you will become more effective at working with them. When we become aware of the pattern of how they communicate, we not only know what kind of communication to expect from them, we also know how to best prepare for them and how to best interact with them and respond to them in order to have a successful connection. Let me give you a couple examples. Have you ever known someone who is dominant and direct? If they drive projects forward and are bold, decisive, and comfortable with being in control, they may be D-wired. And today we'll talk about how to recognize and connect with them. The D personality trait. Have you ever known someone who is inspiring and influencing? Who do you know who is fun, the life of the party, great at telling a story or a joke, and very popular? Well, those characteristics indicate that person may be I-wired. And today you and I will talk about how to connect best with them. Have you ever known someone who is supportive and steady? Is there anyone you know who is loyal, dedicated, doesn't seek attention, and is the backbone of your family or department? Someone who can always be counted on to support people and projects. Well, they are likely an S-wired individual. Have you ever known someone who is cautious and calculating? Have you ever recognized someone who is neat, organized, very structured? They do not seek crowds and are quiet, very focused on the details. Well, they may very well be C-wired, and we'll talk through some strategies on connecting with them as well. Now, let me just kind of say this up front. This framework of D, I, S, and C is not meant to label us or to place us in a box and close the lid. And there is no good or bad personality style. Each has its own strengths and weaknesses. Each of us is actually a combination of all four of the DISC styles. However, we each have a natural set point of 1, 2, or 3 styles that dominate. Now today we will help you recognize that the pattern that illustrate a person's behavioral preferences and how, when we lean into our own natural areas of strength, we can bring our best into our work and relationships. Now, what I'm sharing with you today is not at all new. In fact, it's rooted in ancient history and was further developed in modern psychology. Empedocles, a Greek philosopher in 444 BC, talked about these 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And he recognized that people were different and behaved in a way that was influenced by these 4 elements. Then in 400 BC, Hippocrates developed the theory that each of us are affected by 4 internal fluids and identified them as choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, and melancholy. Then in 1921, Carl Jung developed this even further and identified that an individual's behavior can be looked at in 4 distinct categories, which he identified as thinking, feeling, sensing, and intuition. And this began to help identify and categorize human behavior. Finally, in 1928, Dr. William Marston identified his DISC theory, which was published in his book, Emotions of Normal People. His DISC theory identified that while each of us is a combination of all 4 of these categories, we can connect our personality to style in varying degrees in these 4 areas: dominant, influencing, steady, and compliant. So throughout history, we can clearly see that the pattern of 4 primary behaviors has been talked about. But it really wasn't until Dr. William Marston developed his DISC theory that the formation of this into a way to recognize behavioral patterns began to emerge in a way that was easy to understand. Now, one other kind of little important fact. Our personality and behavior are shaped by 3 main areas. Number 1 is hereditary. In other words, from birth, there are distinct patterns of behavior. And if you're a parent like I am, your little ones at a very, very early age were already displaying some of these personality traits. The other area that shapes our personality and behavior is our environment. Our environment will impact our style. In fact, life experiences, especially emotionally charged ones during our developmental years, can have a huge impact on our personality style. And the third area that affects or shapes our personality and behavior are role models. There are role models in our lives who teach us what is valuable. And these role models may even reward us for certain behaviors in order to reinforce those behaviors within us. So each of these 3 factors contribute to the makeup of who we are. Now, using the framework of DISC, the D, I, C, and S, we can begin to identify some of these patterns so that we then know what to expect. And if we know what to expect, we can use the right strategy to bring our best to our work and relationships. Okay, here's a test scenario. You're waiting for an elevator. As the door begins to open, You secretly hope that no one else is in that elevator so you won't have to go through that awkward moment as you walk into the elevator of trying to figure out if they're going to want to talk with you. Sure enough, the door opens, someone is in the elevator. You enter. You press the button for the floor you want. Then you kind of keep looking at the button panel. Oh, you stare down to your shoes, the door or the floor numbers as they change. And you just wish the elevator would go a little faster so you can make your quiet exit. Now, let's put that scenario on pause. How many of you would say that that describes you? If that's you, then that would indicate that you have a more reserved nature. Okay, same elevator. As the door begins to open, you are curious and super excited to see who's on the other side of the door. The minute you walk in, you say a hearty hello to everyone in the elevator. And as you press the button for your floor, you begin to ask them how their day has been and then make a joke about the weather. And within a few floors, you are all smiles because you have just made new friends. Okay, stop. How many of you would say that is you? If that is you, that would mean that you are more outgoing. Okay, here's another question for you. You're planning a vacation and you're focused on what needs to get done in order to go on your vacation. At home, you need to mow the lawn, take the dog to the kennel, take your car in for service, plan the itinerary of everything you will be doing on your vacation. You cannot go on vacation without making sure that everything is done and completed. At work, you make sure that every detail is covered. Someone will handle your responsibilities. And truth be told, you may be trying to do some work online while you are on your vacation. Does that sound like you? If that is you, that would mean that you are more task-oriented. Okay, we're in vacation mode again. This time, you're focused on how much fun you're going to have on this vacation. Forget about what needs to get done. You're packed and you're ready to go. You're just thinking about who you will see when you get there and all the fun experiences you will enjoy together. Forget that itinerary. We'll hit the road and figure it out on the way there. Oh, and when it comes to the end of your vacation, you will have met a handful of new friends that you didn't have before. It's just your nature to meet total strangers and to make new friends. Does that sound like you? If that is you, that would mean that you are more people-oriented. So you see, with a simple question, we can discover the pattern of the outgoing personality that is found in those of us who don't mind getting into an elevator and meeting somebody new. And with the same question, we can discover who might be more reserved in nature and who really prefers an empty elevator. With another question, we discovered who must get their list of tasks done so they can go on and enjoy a vacation. And we also uncovered those who need people like them in their lives to help them get things done because they're more focused on who they want to be with and who they want to see. So today we're going to learn about the Maxwell-Disc method of personality indicators. And based on your questions to the elevator and the vacation question, or based on your answers to the elevator and vacation questions, you're going to begin to see where you are on the Maxwell-Disc matrix. Now, if you took the assessment, you'll have these answers in your assessment. But here's a way that I can do this without you having to take the whole complete 31-page assessment. Now, when we look at the disc perspectives, D's and I's are more outgoing. This is the top half of the quadrant. The D's and I's are more outgoing. They don't mind people in the elevator. C's and S's, this is the bottom half of the quadrant, they are more reserved. and they are hoping the elevator is empty. But in the event that it's not, the S's are also thinking that they should at least be nice with the people that are in the elevator. Now, D's and C's. This is the left side of the quadrant. D's and C's focus first on getting things done. Then they think about people. They're making the list for the vacation, and they're checking to see if there's Wi-Fi and certain amenities in the hotel. D's and C's are task-oriented. And on the right-hand side of the quadrant, I's and S's focus more on people than on getting things done. Their vacation planning consists of a list of names and experiences that they want to have while they are there. Okay? So the top is outgoing, bottom reserved, the left is task-oriented, the right side is people-oriented. Now, let me give you a glimpse into each of the 4 DISC styles. On the front page of your report, look under your name, and right after the word style, you'll see a descriptive name and then 1 to 3 letters. If your first letter is a D, let's talk about you. D's are the most effective and at times some of the most difficult people to work with. But if you want something done, they will take control and get it done. They drive results. Here's how you know you're communicating with a D. You agree to go to lunch with them, and they insist on driving, even if it's your car. Those with significant characteristics of a D-wired style make up 3% of the population. These are the strong leader types. They thrive on control, make quick decisions. They are direct and focus on results. Don't worry, D's. We're going to get to your strengths in just a minute. Some people think these are not strengths, but these are strengths, and particularly the D-style personality. Okay, now let's go back to the same place on the front page of the report again. If your first letter is an I, let's look at you. I's tend many times to be a little overbooked and often late for dinner. I tend to say they're a little bit scattered or a little bit disorganized. But when you're having a party, they are at the top of your list because they are great at socializing with others. And let's face it, they are fun. I's are the life of the party. At my church, I always recruited the I's as my greeters because they love to greet people. Now think of someone in your circle of family, friends, and colleagues who is fun to be with, who likes to talk a lot and tell stories, and they're always seeking to get others' attention. Can you think of somebody? They are likely I-wired. Now, I's persuade others by speaking. They're spontaneous, they're friendly, and they're often in the spotlight. It is estimated that I's make up 11% of the population. Now again, back to the front of your report, same spot. If your first letter is an S, it's your turn. S. Everybody knows that these are the people who get things done and keep the atmosphere friendly. They may not like changes, but give them enough time and they will come around to it. S's are faithful, steady, and family-oriented. S's are loyal, they're helpful, and you can always count on them. They can be relied upon to follow through. S's are team-oriented. They are great at follow-through. They are loyal and work best in a cohesive atmosphere. It is estimated that 69% of the population is S-wired. This is the biggest group, the S's. Now, last last time, back at the front of the, we're going back to the front of the page. If your first letter is a C, okay, you are last but not least. Here we go, C's, okay? C's, we need these people. We need the C's. They will make sure that we have enough money before you purchase something. They may get upset if the area is messy, but they are so organized that if you need something, they know exactly where to find it. They like to follow rules. Oh, and if you give them information, the likelihood of it being accurate is extremely high. They are precise and detail-oriented. You'll see that they are always on time. Their desk, their home, even their garage is very organized and might even have labels. They put things on their desk in precise locations, very detail-oriented. These are the C-wired people in your life. C's are compliant. They are on time. They are analytical. And most of the time they are not all spontaneous. These tend to be creatives also. In fact, they are planners and they take pride in their accuracy. C's are about 17% of the population. All right, let's look at some of the important characteristics about each style. I've kind of given you a little bit of an overview of the D, I, C, and S. But let's start with the D characteristics. D's focus on results, so much so that they are always working towards something, and they are proficient at multitasking. They are driven by authority, and they will easily try and take control. They want to be the leader. They automatically draw towards taking a role in leadership. They embrace any change that will help them get results. They are very comfortable responding to direct confrontation. D's look to work with people who are loyal, and their greatest fear is being taken advantage of. Strengths. Here's some words that describe the D-wired individual. Strengths like bold, confident, decisive, productive, strong-willed, independent, positive, persistent, excels in emergencies, motivates others to action, goal-oriented, values business-related socializing. They're comfortable leading. They thrive on resistance. When a D's strengths are out of balance, they create an obstacle. Now, in today's HR world, human resources world, lately the word weakness is kind of frowned upon, but these really are weaknesses. In some environments like law enforcement, military, they're not afraid to use the word strengths and weaknesses. People might use this word obstacles or areas of growth or areas of concern, but these relatively, when a person, the negative part of their strength or the weakness, this is what we see in D's. The intensity of their personality can seem insensitive, domineering, impatient, unable to relax, unforgiving, opinionated, or cold. Because they're not afraid of conflict, they can become argumentative and inconsiderate, not complimentary to others, possessive, and they do not like to apologize. All right, so let's watch this video clip, and I want you to just think about who would you say is the D in this video. Who is the D? Here we go.
Thank you all for sticking with it. This has been the worst quarter in the history of the ladies' scarf industry. Who knew it was going to be 80+ degree weather most days? But I have it on high authority that the new CEO of our company is going to do great things. And I give you John Smith.
team. All right, team. I'm a no-huddle offense kind of guy, so I'm cutting right to the chase. We're going to blitz the market with something brand new, a line of socks. They're going to make you feel as fast as Deion Sanders, but you're going to look like prime time. We've got the ball, and we're ready to take it to the house. You, name. All right, you, name.
It's Kim.
Karen. Can you picture this team in the red zone, ready to punch it in?
It's Kim.
I can too, Karen. I can too.
Kim.
That's why I've added something to sweeten the deal for everybody this quarter. That's right, my season tickets. We make gold this quarter, you're all gonna tailgate with me on opening day. Now who's got questions?
No huddle, red zone. Do they sell scarves?
Those are sports metaphors. Okay, so you're not a football fan, are you? Let me try doing this a different way. So, at my last company, we were a paper company, and I turned them into a paper and envelope company. It was a huge opportunity for us to do a ton of great things with a very similar product that complemented what we already did. That's what I see here. You guys are a scarf company. I know you have the expertise. I've seen your work. It's going to be a bit of a stretch, but together as a team, we can take our share of the sock market too. Now, who's with me?
All right, great story. Now let's look at some of the characteristics of an I. I's seek a fun, friendly environment, and they're always active. They are relationship-oriented, emotional, expressive, and animated. They're great storytellers and encouragers, and they treasure great experiences with others. Their greatest fear is rejection and loss of approval. The strengths that are often found in individuals with strong I wiring are persuasive, generous, charismatic, enthusiastic, friendly, talkative, comfortable in the spotlight, social, spontaneous, creative, inspirational to others, charming, likable, fun, and optimistic. Now, when I's are out of balance, they create an obstacle. They may appear to be undisciplined, undependable, disorganized, naive, phony, distracted, impulsive, forgetful, not listening, not following through, wasting time, talking too much, overcommitted, or seeking the spotlight. Okay, now I want you to watch this video and see if you can identify who is the I.
Hey, Mary. Got some more reports from procurement for you to process. Sort of reminds you of Office Space, huh? The movie? TPS reports? Guess you're too young for that, huh?
Well, I was still in diapers when you were, getting back into diapers.
Yeah, well, this old geezer could probably help you with those. You know all the codes by heart. Let me know. LMK.
Sure. If I need help, I'll, you know.
I do indeed. Hey, Mary. I wonder if you could help me with something. Minecraft.
Listen, Gary. I appreciate what you're doing, but I'm not 12, and I have reports to process.
Hey, I'm just trying to get through to a friend.
Get through to a friend? You know, that's a song lyric.
Yeah. 20-pound sledge. They were in town last week, you know.
Yeah, I was there. Wait, you weren't...
Oldest guy in the mosh pit.
Oh my gosh, you're a legend.
Try telling that to my grandkids.
All right. That's the I personality, right? Let's look at the characteristics of the S. Now, for our S-wired friends, they seek a team environment and they are loyal. They are easygoing and agreeable, evenly paced, good listeners, compassionate, and they treasure peaceful relationships. Their greatest fear is loss of security or confrontation. Now, some strengths that are often seen in individuals with strong S wiring are hard worker, team player, stable, steady, secure, sentimental, saver, reserved, faithful, great listener, peaceful, and supportive. Where D's and I start and lead a project, the S-wired team members do the details to make it happen. Here are some of the obstacles. When an S strengths are out of balance, they create an obstacle. They may appear to be too laid back, sarcastic, resistant to change, slow-paced, or slow to start. They may have difficulty saying no, and they often need reassurance. They will not always be direct, and they will shut down in confrontation. S's may appear to be possessive, skeptical, indecisive, and they may not speak up, even when they should. Now let's look at our C friends. People that are C-wired seek an environment that honors logic and facts. They're compliant, conscientious, accurate, detail-oriented, and they treasure perfection. Here's a list of some of the strengths associated with the C style. Analytical, genius-prone, self-sacrificing, idealistic, orderly, organized, and logical. They do high-quality work and are usually persistent in planning and finishing what they start. They're driven by data. They gather facts. They're usually pretty deep thinkers who are serious and they carry out their work correctly. Now, when a strength C's are out of balance, they create an obstacle, and they may appear to be moody, critical, unsociable, rigid, legalistic, overanalyzing, socially insecure, or cold and distant. C's prefer to work alone. They can be hard to please and can be slow to start due to taking too much time to plan. Of all the personalities, C's are the most susceptible to analysis paralysis. They can be perfectionistic, and they often avoid risks, even good ones. Because they're so detailed, they may not see the big picture. Okay, this is our last video clip. Let's see if you can identify who is the S and who is the C in this video.
The last delivery to our client promised an arrival time of 2 p.m. 2:04 is not 2 p.m. I expect excellence from every member of our team, and I'm going to experience that excellence moving forward. Am I right? Very good. Wow. She's so organized. This is gonna save me hours, days. Kim Miller to Ricky Ford's office. Kim Miller, report to my office.
Oh, she hates the reports.
2:04 is not 2 p.m. I expect excellence from every member of our team.
Oh man, I can't afford to lose this job. Okay. Get it together, Kim. You gave her what she wanted. Okay, I mean, take a leg in Adele. You can do this.
Kim Miller, report to Ricky Ford's office immediately. These are awesome. You paged? Kim, I sincerely can't believe the quality of this work. Did you do this?
Yeah.
This is really, really good. I couldn't have done it better myself. Oh, did I miss something?
I thought you were gonna fire me. You're so particular and immediately, and I mean...
No, Kim, how could I fire the woman that single-handedly saved me days of work and may have set the bar for our department and how we do our reporting? No, I was going to compliment you, thank you, and talk to you about how to teach this to others, how to deliver like this as manager of the department.
But our department doesn't have a manager, though.
It does now. Congratulations.
Great. What a great video. Were you able to identify the S and the C? Here's a question. Why is knowing someone's disc style so important? My friend and personal mentor, John Maxwell, says, connecting increases your influence in every situation. I've heard it said that in order to succeed in life, we need to learn to work with others. No matter how smart, caring, charismatic, or demanding we are, we won't advance very far without the ability to communicate and to connect effectively with others. One of the workshops that I teach is entitled Everyone Communicates, Few Connects, based on one of John's books. And this statement is so true. Let me give you an example. I've installed in my home the Amazon Fire Cube and Echo Dots in each bedroom. Have you ever heard of these devices? Or maybe you're familiar with Siri on an iPhone. Well, as you know, with many of these devices, you're able to ask it questions and even command it to do something like schedule appointments, set an alarm, or turn on a device in your home. These devices do a great job of responding back to us, and no matter who asks the question, the tone and response is always the same. You might think, man, that is perfect. It's the same consistent response all the time. Yes, it is. It is exactly what you would expect from a machine. But when humans communicate and connect, we need to be, well, we need to be human. We need to treat people with the platinum rule. Now, I'm sure you've heard of the golden rule, right? Treat everyone how you would like to be treated. Well, the platinum rule is this: treat others how they would like to be treated. What's the purpose of communication? We communicate for many reasons, but the main ones are to influence, motivate, express feelings, and inform. It's the responsibility of the person giving the communication to properly relay their message and intent to the receiver. And unless this is done successfully, then this communication never really takes place and is often the cause of conflict and misunderstanding. This is why it's so important to learn someone else's communication language and to operate by keeping that platinum rule always in the forefront of our minds. So let's talk about how we can do this. How can we communicate with each different style? Are you ready? Communicating with a D. There are specific strategies for communicating with someone who is D-wired. Be brief, direct, and to the point, then leave. Ask what, not how questions. Focus on results. Don't ramble. When you have to discuss a problem, talk about its effect on outcomes. Communicating with the I. Don't do all the talking. They are talkers. Let them talk. Don't ignore their ideas. Hear them. Acknowledge them. If you don't think their idea will work, recognize their efforts and encourage them to keep looking for solutions and get back to you. And then, yes, you listen again. With iWire team members, allow time for socializing, both in work or after a meeting with them, and then follow up with the details in writing. With meetings, keep in mind that 4 short 10-minute discussions will be more productive than one 40-minute meeting. Communicating with an S. With the S-wired people in your life, smile. Even if you're not feeling friendly, look friendly. That goes especially for you Ds out there. Seriously, create a friendly tone for the discussion. Don't be overly aggressive. Minimize the potential for confrontation. Be sure to show interest in them as a person. If you're working on a project together, give definition to the goal and each person's role. And if changes are needed, give them time to adjust to the changes. Communicating with a C. With those who are C-wired, remember that they need the details. Make sure when you offer up facts that they are validated facts. With C's, you will want to be precise in your explanation and very specific. Be patient, answer all their questions, and follow up to provide them with the additional data that they request. When someone with strong C wirings asks many questions, it can sometimes feel like they are questioning us. However, keep in mind, they ask questions to gather details so that they can make the right decision, buy in, and take the right action. So here's the important takeaway. Once we know how someone else is wired, we can build even deeper relationships and connections. And that, my friends, builds solid teams. Now, in your report, turn to page 8 and look at that third section, the communication do's, and then right below it are the communication do nots. Okay, what do you think would happen if you exchange this page with, let's say, your wife, your coworker, or your boss? What could happen if we knew the secret to unlock the door to greater communicating and connecting with each other? I'll tell you what could happen. Remember the number game? 4 words: less stress, higher productivity. I've done this training with couples. I've used this training in premarital counseling. I've used it in high-level executive teams. I'm telling you that it produces dramatic results. One of the most effective tools that I learned early on in my ministry was the DISC assessment. It helped me to understand people. It helped me to understand my board members. It helped me to understand my staff members. It helped couples to understand each other. It is one of the greatest tools that I've ever encountered in my 30 plus years of working in nonprofits, churches, and businesses. Now, let me conclude with this. Oftentimes people will ask, well, what style is best? What's the best one? The answer, of course, is yours. You are gifted with strengths that, when used, contribute to the work and lives around you. Your style is best, and that makes everyone better. And then when we take the time to communicate and connect with others through their style instead of ours, we build the bridge to successful work and relationships. One of the things that I love to do is to help teams understand who they are, what their personality traits are, and then help them to use those strengths to better and in a more effective way work together as a team. Now, when we did our number exercise earlier, you were able to see firsthand just how much further we can go and how much more productive and efficient we can be just by recognizing the pattern. And how when we know the pattern of human behavior in someone else, we know what to expect of them. So as we close, I want you to identify one thing that really sticks in your mind from all that I have shared with you today. What is that one thing you have learned or will do differently as a result of what we have covered today? Think about it for a minute. And then I'm going to ask a favor of you. Email me, share with me your answer. If you feel that this training has brought value to you as a leader, please let me know. It has been said that the biggest gap is the gap between knowing and doing. And I commend you for taking the time to watch this webinar and to increase your leadership and communication skills. And I hope that today you learned something that you did not know before about human behavior patterns, and that you will use this newfound insight to connect effectively with your team, with your staff, with your spouse, and that it'll help you to improve your relationships. God bless you. Keep growing and keep leading.